Here we go, Chris. Starting things off, we got to take a look at some of the most defining moments of the Raiders' history, the moves, okay? Despite calling multiple cities homes, the Raiders have won 3 Super Bowls and built one of the most loyal fan bases in the league. They played in Oakland twice. They even played some games in San Francisco in the early days. There was even some talk about Al Davis moving the team to Sacramento for a while, where he would also take over ownership of the Sacramento Kings as well. Okay, there's plenty of lawsuits back and forth to talk about between the Raiders and the NFL. So the history of this franchise is as unique as it comes. The Raiders began as a franchise in 1960 in the old American Football League, the AFL. The Raiders were one of 8 teams in the original league there. 10 years later, Al Davis was part of the team that negotiated the merger between the AFL and the NFL. They joined and became the league that we see today. In 1982, the Raiders made the move to Los Angeles. They played in the Coliseum mainly. The Raiders were promised a new stadium in Irwindale. That never happened. So in 1994, the Raiders returned to a revamped Oakland Alameda Coliseum. By the way, both the Raiders and Rams left LA that same year, so it was a tough time for football in Southern California. And in January that same year, the official name of the Raiders, of this year rather, the official name of the Raiders was, of course, changed to Las Vegas. Longtime journalist who has covered the Raiders for years remembers what it was like when the Raiders played the Rams in the Coliseum.
I covered a preseason game there a couple of years ago when the Rams and Raiders played the Coliseum. And I was walking through there, and my whole story was, wow, it's 1992 here all over again, because there was nothing but silver and black all over the place. And anytime the place the announcer would ask whose house, but they're supposed to say Rams house, it turned into Raiders house. The Raiders kind of transcend cities now because they've had so many homes and because they are an international brand.
Okay, moment number 9 in our countdown here. The moment the fans decided they had to do something different. The black hole was born. Fans started wearing outrageous outfits to the games and had their own section in Oakland Stadium. Question here was when the teams move into town, what's going to be happening? Will there be room for the black hole? So far, Raiders management has said there will be. It's possible the NFL would like to see an image change with the team. Either way, it's one Raiders' opinion that the Raiders' black hole will always be there in some form.
I love the black hole. Al Davis built that. And I think the NFL wants a new image. I don't think they want that kind of fan base. Unfortunately, not my league to decide what happens, but I think to eliminate the character, the participation from the fan, the lifeblood is wrong. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen, but you need people. You need people with passion.
Well, the Raiders have that. Raiders management says they want to keep the black hole still a part of the Raiders. As Frank said, perhaps the NFL has other plans. By the way, Hawkins also said no matter what happens, the black hole will survive in some form here in the Las Vegas community, at the stadium, at local tailgate parties, or just hanging out around town, Chris.